Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dr. Bones Lecture podcast.
Uh, I am your host, Jacob.
I am Ben. We got a guest today.
Yeah, hey, it's Jason Ball 34.
Hey, he's
Today's the
back.
last day ever.
So make sure to max out your credit cards.
Yeah, it was the last day for Betty White.
That's true.
She's out.
Maybe a little too soon. She's been dead for like 3 hours, but
Sorry.
No, you're good. Today, this is the podcast where we take 5 minutes a day to review the daily web comic by Jason Ball 34, titled A Pirate's Life. Today, 12/31, we got a three-paneler, where Dexter says, I want to hear what Jason Ball 34's Dexter voice is.
I can be the captain.
Good idea.
Okay. On January 5th, I asked you for your New Year's resolution, and you said to ask again in 360 days. So, have you thought of one yet?
Yes, this will still be here in another 360 days.
And then Dexter's neck gets about 3 inches shorter. Can we get a Peter explain the joke from the creator of this comic, Jason Ball 34?
Yeah, so the joke here is that on January 5th, the captain said to ask again in 360 days. And in a subversion of expectations, potentially, Dexter has actually done that. And it turned into a meta commentary on the future of the comic, which is an unexpected subversion from the January 5th comic. And that's the joke.
Wow. I can't believe he actually did it. Dexter actually did it.
What? Ask the captain
That's
after
really
all these years.
Uncharacteristic of Dexter.
Yeah. It's also a there's a comedic wholesomeness to the second panel, and also the third panel. The third panel is
I might make
is a
the
little
third
bit
panel my
disconcerting.
desktop background.
Yeah, the third panel's a good one. So
I got a question.
Okay.
I'm
sorry, I don't want to ask anything.
What this means?
Yeah, I have an announcement tweet going out soon, but it basically means I'm going to continue for as long as possible. And even if I don't continue it daily, which I will be for now, even if I shrink down the frequency to twice a week or whatever, it'll still be here, even if it's less common, less frequent.
Nice.
So it's not ending, is what I'm saying.
That's good to hear. We don't have such an announcement to make yet. We'll be taking maybe I'll say this again at the end of the podcast, but we will certainly be taking the 2-week break warranted by the end of every season. But after that,
it depends.
We will. Yeah,
Well,
we'll see what's happening.
I just want to say, I mean, there's no pressure on you guys. I mean, I don't want to feel like you guys. I don't want to chain you to this forever.
Oh no. Oh no, you aren't the one making us have to do this. We're the ones making us have to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we've got here is a very rare escape plan, which we don't usually get.
That's true. We certainly, there were certainly times where I think we probably would have stopped doing the podcast if it wasn't for our personal obligation to the bit. There were definitely some times during this year where it was definitely like during those like 5-day periods where we wouldn't do it and then released 5 on the same day.
That's when I would just not talk to Jacob for like a week on purpose.
There were times where it was like, okay, if we don't say anything, then we don't have to record the podcast. And not like it's not even like a once we record the podcast it's even that hard. It's just like that entry level
I gotta
like that entry level resistance to doing something. Like I have to sit down and open my recording software. But anyway, all that to say, it certainly wasn't you keeping us having to do the podcast. It was our obligation to the bit.
Okay. Yeah. And
Uh,
yesterday's comic, I just was just basically a thank you for everything.
Yeah,
Hey, he said yepperoni, so
he said
Yeah.
yepperoni.
Yeah, yes, he did.
That was more than enough already, and then we got a full like heartfelt thank you in the rest of the comic, and
Yeah,
we very much appreciated it. So I have a question that I've been wanting to ask. I want to ask everybody in here. But let's start with
All two of us.
Well, hey,
hey,
what about
Jacob's
me?
here too.
Well, who's not here? um,
Alton.
Alton.
Hurry up.
Hey, let's start with you, Jason. What's your favorite comic from the year? Do you have a favorite comic?
I was ready for this because
I knew you would be.
someone asked me last time. I didn't have an answer. I say that now my favorite comic is actually a fairly recent one. It was the one of the evolution on the beach where the dude dies and then the skeleton is the final evolution.
Can you elaborate on why that's your favorite comic, or is it?
Yeah, because I was very. I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but I was very impressed with myself that I was able to come up with a wordless joke that actually was funny to me. And because I see so many like evolution cartoons in the New Yorker and Bizarro and all over the place and science textbooks, and I finally came up with one of my own. I thought, wow, this is pretty cool, and also I just had fun with drawing all the different the monkey and the lizard and then the dead guy, and I think it's funny to see the dead guy and then turn into a skeleton. I think it's a good subversion.
Is that the so I agree. This is a good comic, and also hearing you talk about the creator side of it is interesting and makes me understand why it would be your favorite comic. Is this the first time we've seen like a dead person who is not reanimated in some form in a comic?
No, there was one that was clinic dead ahead, and there was a dead guy on the bed.
Oh. I was gonna say, is he gonna pull out, like, is he just gonna encyclopedically pull out the comic for that? And then you say that, and I remember that comic.
Jacob, what's your favorite comic?
My favorite comics gotta be Hello Hi, the annual dead meet and greet that started this whole thing.
Still,
well, it's got
it
like
never got better.
It's got, well, no, it definitely, like joke wise, like comedy wise, and I don't remember exactly what that one looked like, but I like, if I were to go look at it, like, I'm sure that like the art has improved over the year. We've commented on that before, but the thing, like, there's something about like that first time when Ben messaged the group chat and was like, the guy who left us the comment on Artemis Fowl does a daily comic strip, and sent that, and we all lost it at Hello Hi.
That was funny.
That's gotta still be my favorite one. What about you, Ben?
I'm glad.
Mine's, well, I'm just thinking about this. There's a lot of them that I like, but the one that stands out is there was one Sunday strip where like Mr. Pine and the Captain went on like epic heist, and it was like, it wasn't a joke, it was like action. I don't know why. I really like that comic.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that was a good one.
They were stealing from Governor Butte or something.
Yeah, I like that one too. That one was inspired by Calvin and Hobbes, where they'd be having a philosophical discussion while screaming down a cliff in a wagon and like falling and breaking all their bones, and they'd still be talking about philosophy.
Yeah.
Just
yeah. Also, I was just going, because I mentioned the art thing, and I was just going back and looking at what the old comics looked like, and
they look weird.
You've certainly, like, the main thing that I notice is that everything's significantly more circular than it was in the originals.
Yeah, I've cleaned up the lines and the shapes.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, the artistically, it has definitely improved over the year. It's hard to wait. What do you mean a pirate comic has posted a new tweet in the middle of the podcast?
He schedules his tweets. Another favorite of mine is the comic with no words.
Which
Well,
one?
so there's two now.
Oh, you're
I
right.
assume you
First
mean
one?
the first one.
Yeah.
The one with the eye patches?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you like that one?
Yeah. It's
Oh, you
got-
fucking like that, Ben?
It's got good comedic timing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, like, I think maybe it's a little bit self-congratulatory, but I also like I'm particularly predisposed to yesterday's comic.
That's true.
I don't know if I've asked you this before, but was the Beatrice mermaid arc because I kept complaining about the lack of mermaids, or was that an arc before I started doing that?
I wanted to have mermaids on because I wrote like the it's a mermaid. No, it's a maid. You know that thing.
Yeah.
That was a joke I wanted to do for a while, and then you started, you know, complaining about mermaids, and
Yeah.
so I brought it up a little bit. You know, I would have done it eventually, no matter what, but that was the impetus. Yes, and she's also a witch, and that was Beatrice the other day punching the captain.
It
Oh, what?
was.
How is she? So is she a witch and a mermaid, and she can turn her fins into legs via witch magic?
It's that when she's on the land, she has legs.
Oh,
There's like I don't know if you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean 4, but when the mermaids get out of the water, their tails morph into legs.
mermaids
Oh.
seem overpowered in both the Pirates of the Caribbean world and in the Pirates Life world.
Yeah, well, this one just happens to be a witch. Also, yes.
It seems like she might be your most powerful character. Do we have a power ranking of a Pirate's Life characters?
We could make one.
Well, I would say that Dr. Bones is the most powerful because he's dead, and
He
so
de-
And he
therefore
can't
he
die.
can't
He's like
kill.
so smart.
He is
He does
the
a lot.
smartest character. Yeah.
He's
You-
I don't
you
know,
think-
he does say okie dokie. I don't.
He also says
He also says
yepperoni.
Yepperoni.
That also makes him the funniest character.
Funniest character is clearly taken by Dexter.
That's true.
Ah!
I got a question.
Yeah.
What is Anatoly's New Year's resolution?
I don't know. What do you think it should be? Eat more bananas?
Yeah, I don't know what he does. So
Is that the same banana he's always had, or does he eat that banana at some point? Is it like a nightly ritual to eat it or something? Or is that the same banana? You'd think it would have rotted by now.
I sure hope it's not the same banana, because that would be real moldy by now. Yeah. I think it gets replaced every couple of days, probably. Yeah.
Okay. As long as someone eats it.
Because one time he didn't have it on, and so they almost killed him because they didn't recognize him.
Oh, right. I
Oh, so
kind of
he-
remember that.
he must have. Does it ever? How is it attached to his head? Is it just like duct tape or?
I don't think they have that.
It's attached through the magic of it's drawn on
Beatrice.
top of his head.
It's on top of his
Ah.
head.
Look at the top of his head. I also was I keep like I guess my favorite comics are all the ones with like in jokes regarding us, I think, and maybe it's self-serving, but I like them a lot. Like I'm thinking about the one where the captain had toes.
That was funny.
That was a funny
Oh.
one.
I don't actually remember what the dialogue was in that one. What was actually happening?
Yeah,
I remember that
don't
it wasn't
either.
relevant that he had toes to the dialogue.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just put toes on the captain, and then you did. And I remember that was when we still had people who weren't me and Ben doing the podcast. And I remember like we got that comic, and Alden like instantly in the Discord went, "My fucking god, the madman did it."
He's got
Or
toes.
something
I say
like
that
that.
once a
He's
week
got
though.
toes. That's true.
Okay.
Once a week, you push the envelope with the comic, and we all go wild.
Oh, thank you.
Well, like the first time when on the no, because we had made the joke before that you should make a comic with no text, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
first no text comic, everybody freaked out.
The eye patch one? Or-
Yeah.
The eye patch one.
Okay.
it didn't matter what that had been a comic of. The fact that it had no text, we instantly lost it.
Nice.
I feel like there's at least one. There's a plenty of other ones, but I don't remember what the stipulations for that were.
Jacob, do you have a favorite Dr. Bones Locker podcast?
Do I have a favorite podcast?
Or
It's gotta,
thing that happened on the podcast?
the first pre-show. Easy.
Oh, the first pre-show was funny. I was thinking about the first time we got George.
Oh, George! The first time we got George was a good one. Yeah, I don't know if you So I don't know if you remember the last episode you were on.
Me?
We had Alden's girlfriend on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've been made privy to this, but she loves George. She thinks it's the funniest thing. we got Jim too. That wasn't as notable, but
only
like the
had
first
Jim
time we
for
got
one
George was
episode.
good. We had Jim for one episode.
Dexter Jetster episode was
Dexter
was funny.
Jetster, which started the Wedge Antilles joke.
Yep.
Yeah, the George episode is the double miss. That's the Dextor episode.
Mm-hmm.
I know because I've listened to that episode several times. Jason, do you have a favorite?
I have a couple favorite ones. I think my favorite one was you guys did one like right on the dot when the comic came out, and so it was your live reaction to it, and it was the Hippocratic Oath. And as you were reading it, Jacob, you just started bursting out laughing uncontrollably at the hippopotamus. Who had a runny nose, and that made me so happy because you can't fake a live reaction of a laugh to a comic. Like that was a genuine laugh at something I'd written, and that made me realize, maybe I am kind of funny once in a while with this thing. So I really
Was that one of our
appreciated
speed runs?
that live reaction. Yeah, that was one of your speed runs.
I was thinking. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I was just trying to find it.
I don't know when it was. It was definitely season 1.
Yeah, that was April 13th. That was the
13th.
hippo.
Oh, so that's right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
It would have been like 3 weeks in or something. I was just thinking about that when we scheduled this podcast for the time when the comic releases. I just remember, like, I had forgotten, like I was talking about this. I don't remember if I was talking about this when I was talking about this in the last half hour, but I don't remember when in the last half hour. Like the podcast has gone through so many trends. We can do speed runs now, but we don't anymore, right? Like there was a time where the whole thing was like we do it every day and it'll come out at 1 and we try to do it like I think our record's like 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we do it 3 days later.
That was like the hippo one.
Yeah, now we do it 3 days late and sometimes forget to do that and do it 5 days late. We had there was a while I can't believe that at some point we were doing it daily. We had 11 hours to do it. And we
did that for like 50
We did it every day
episodes,
for a while. No, it must have been 100, right? Because the first season was 100 episodes.
Maybe.
You switched to delayed a day. That was somewhat through the first season.
And then we decided we can be late one day if we're early on the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we started thrift casting. Yeah, and then it kind of went down the hill from there. We've had the worst we've gotten was we've had one Quint cast.
Did we really? I thought we only had. Did we have?
Well, we didn't actually do the Quint cast, but we had a podcast. We had one where we had to do 3 and then 3 the next day.
Oh right, yeah.
That's
That was like last weekend.
Yeah, it definitely has gotten like progressively. We've tried to chunk it more, right? Because I mean, you chunk your releases, right? Like, because it's a lot to do something every day.
Yeah, I generally do it. I take a whole day basically every couple weeks to do the next couple weeks, and so at any given time I'm either 2 weeks ahead or 2 days ahead when I'm almost at the end of the chunk. Then I do the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely one problem with the with the review format is that we can't preload uh our we can't preload our
Yeah.
content, right? Like we have to wait until the comic comes out to do it. We've been talking about what format the podcast is going to take after, like, potentially after this 2 weeks, if we keep doing it. And like we've talked about doing like a weekly podcast where we review every comic, or like, do some highlights from the week, or like, we might keep it daily. We aren't sure yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I like the weekly idea. I wouldn't mind, and no pressure, but I think that
Yeah.
would be kind of neat if you
Yeah.
guys are tired of doing trying to figure out how to fill 5 minutes for every comic.
Yeah. We find I don't know if we fill 5 minutes with every comic, but we certainly do fill 5 minutes for every comic that's released.
Yeah.
I was just on the Twitter, like, while I was looking for, when I was looking for the stuff that we were talking about, and I remembered Venus was around for a while.
Oh yeah, there
And
was Venus. I forgot.
I
about
really
that.
appreciated Venus, and I wish it had gone longer. I understand why it didn't, but I look,
Yeah, that was something.
yeah, that was. Yeah, that I don't know if that was ever, like, we said what that was, but that was an Emerson BHOTM submission, basically.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have it. Oh.
Oh, sorry. I also wanted to mention another of my
Yes.
favorite moments was just the other day when you did.
That was, yeah. We've been
that was
stepping up
such
our
a-
voice game the last couple of weeks.
That's
yeah,
true.
that was such a good, it was perfect. I
Thank you.
laughed so hard at that.
I remember I had not thought about reading that onomatopoeia, I guess, I had not thought about a comedic way to read that, and I was expecting Ben to go pfft, right, and then he started doing the way he was gonna read it, and I instantly was like, oh, this is gonna be the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, we have been doing the, like, I don't remember when the voices started. It may have been around George, honestly.
It was around George.
And we also, like, I don't remember when we started, but like we stopped reading the Sunday comics because that took almost all the time.
Now you don't even read them at all. You don't even know what they say.
I have read every Sunday comic that we've reviewed.
So many words.
Have they gotten, like, are there more words in them now, or have they always had that many words?
I think they've always had that many words. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Yeah,
more
I mean,
common for us to not.
I'm looking back in. I gave myself a little more room starting in July. I made the panels a little bit bigger so I could fit a couple more words. But since July, I think they've been about the same. I'm looking back through them now. And yeah, there's a lot of words. It's just sometimes there's one with no words, like with the 2 blank panels with the below decks. And sometimes there's more different ones, like where they pull the tag off the speech bubble to do ventriloquism, and so those go by quicker because it's not a whole bunch of text. So it seems like sometimes it's wordier than others. Yeah.
I mean, it's more common for us to start recording the episode without having read the comic, I think.
Yeah, I think that's kind of odd.
What, starting the podcast without having read the comic?
5 minutes is a long time. You can.
You can read the comic so many times in 5 minutes. I
Plus,
guarantee
it gets read to you.
most of them, except for the Sunday ones. Yeah, well, that's definitely become more common. Like, when we were doing it every day, we had, like, we would, I have made, like, made it a point to read the comic every day when it comes out. But, like, I've definitely had more times where, like, I've been doing something and missed a comic and been like, oh, we're thrift casting. I don't know what 2 of these comics say. But yeah, like, well, since the beginning of the year, right? Like, at on 317, like, it was like, it was very, like, the comic comes out, we read it, we do the podcast, and like with the advent of waiting multiple days, there are definitely days where like I'll end up reading the comic when we do the podcast instead of when it comes out.
Yeah, sometimes that works out really funny.
It does mean you get an authentic reaction sometimes.
Yeah. So I like that.
Sometimes. Yeah. Do you have any questions, Jason?
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. You said for a while that you were like really excited for the Christmas week, and then I don't know. Did the Christmas week, was that okay? Did it
I think
approach your expectations?
I think it held up.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Like I was excited for the Christmas week, but like I think I'm just generally like excited for any days, like any times during the year when I mean, I've said before, like I really like the arcs, right? The comics that last are cohesive over a week because you build up material and can make jokes about that material and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
But like that makes me specifically excited for like it's like, oh, Christmas is coming, or like Halloween, right? It's like,
Oh yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween's comics were, as far as I remember, Halloween's comics were good. I don't like Halloween as a holiday, so I'm less excited for that one. But it's just any holiday like Thanksgiving's another one. That was a good arc.
Yeah, I like
right?
Thanksgiving.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was those comics with the captain's mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were good ones. I liked Halloween's arc a lot.
Yeah, and the one where the great grandfather can't remember because he's 95 years old. And what's great about the arcs, I think why they turn out, as good as they do, is that there's something interesting about setting out to write something without having a joke first, because normally, like with the normal puns, you think of the pun and then you figure out how the characters are going to deliver it. But with the holidays, and with ones where they're in like a situation in an arc, you have the situation already, and then you figure out what they're gonna. You I don't know how to explain it or if it makes any sense, but it's sort of doing it the other way around, where instead of starting with a wordplay and then figuring out where they're going to be, you already know where they're going to be. They're going to be at Thanksgiving, and then you have to figure out the wordplay based on that.
So
it's more organic writing, I think.
Yeah, that's something that like I feel like I've experienced when for anybody listening who of whom there are 0 people presumably, the Brumvert makes other content too, and I think that's what I've experienced with our content is that it's always like I find it always to be funnier if like very rarely do I think of a joke and then start writing something around it. Like I do it sometimes. But most of the time, it's like we want to make this thing that we think would be nebulously kind of funny, like the Pirate's Life gang at Thanksgiving, right, or something like that. Or like I think the first half of the Artemis Fowl movie is a great example.
Oh yeah, that was we didn't start that. Like the joke was that we were doing it, and then other jokes emerged.
Like Foley's butt being a chair, right? Like that was like that's not something we thought of. That's something that was like we're shooting a Foley shot, and somebody said, "Oh shit, we don't have any way to."
We only have 3 guys.
People.
Yeah, we're only 3 guys. How do we have a Foley has an ass shot with 3 people in it? And the answer was the chair. But that's like I think that's similar to what you're talking about. Is when you're like.
Yeah.
You're making something you have to like you're like it's about solving a problem. It's just that like in your situation when you're making a comic about Thanksgiving, you know Thanksgiving the problem you're solving is that it has to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does anybody else have any other questions, any other comments about any of this full year I guess not full year for us, full year that you've spent doing the comic and full 250, well, a little over, I guess 250 days doing the podcast, a little over 250 days with the podcast running.
Right.
I don't have anything.
Because we've taken what?
We've taken 6 weeks off.
Yeah. Wait,
Math.
really? Yeah.
You're in
Um,
season 4, right?
Well, this
Yeah.
is the end of season. Yeah. Yes, season 4.
Yeah.
I always think it's season 5, but the first season was 100 episodes long.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of the season, I don't know if I know I'm doing this at the end of the season, but I'd like to give a shout out to Miles Moline for doing our cover art. I don't know if we ever did that on the
Oh, yeah.
podcast, but
It's
it was
funny.
a big. It was
It's
a
so
big,
good.
It's great cover art. Just wanted to
It's
just wanted to
It's
give
like
that shout
real. It's like real art.
Yeah, unlike the rest of our cover art. I've loved the variation. The variation in cover art has been great, and like that was like the first cover art was like, oh shit, we need cover art for this, right?
Yeah.
Right, kind of like the theme song was like, oh shit, we need a theme song for this. I think we've said this anecdote before, but the thing that took the longest about making this podcast was the name.
Yeah.
And we still fucked that up. It should have been called the Daily Bones Locker.
Yeah. I will be changing the comic name starting tomorrow.
Oh,
To
what?
what?
It'll be Sticks and Bones.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my goodness.
Does that mean
Yeah.
can we change the podcast name in the new year, Ben? Is that possible?
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
I never saw the problem with Dr. Bones Locker.
Daily Bones Locker is
Except you don't know how to spell bones.
Hey, we had a whole what is it Discord conversation
Yeah, we
about
had a
this?
discussion about this.
Yeah, and now it says bones singular.
Yeah, well, okay. Miles doesn't know the comic. What was I saying before I was so rudely interrupted?
The comic name is changing.
Oh right. Well, Daily Bones Locker so we get the Davy Daily joke. It's just funnier, I think.
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
I think it's
I
a
guess.
funnier name. Because that was the original. Like we were trying to figure a name, and we got Dr. Bones instead of Davy Jones Locker.
Yeah.
But Daily Bones Locker would have been funnier. I think personally.
Yeah, I think Sticks and Bones is less generic, and also I think I've done pretty much everything I can and then some with squeezing a pirate's life into sentences for the title panels.
Oh,
Are you gonna
yeah.
squeeze
Sundays.
Are you gonna squeeze Sticks and Bones into the title panels?
Not really, because you can't really
That makes
put
sense,
that in
yeah.
a sentence.
Yeah.
So probably not. It'll just be more of a standard title panel. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
I-
aren't
I-
words you can
I-
use in a sentence. It's not allowed.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thank you, Jacob, for requesting that a pirate's life still be in the title panels. Because like halfway through the year, I was kind of done putting that in the title panels, and then you said that you liked it when I did that, so I kept it, and I found ways to squeeze it into even more sentences.
That has been one of my favorite jokes. I wish like if all right, here's another question for us before we go. If you could do something different about either the podcast or the comic, what would it be? And my answer is I would have made a stronger effort to talk about that because that's my favorite running joke.
I
would
would've-
have made it a point to talk about the way you squeeze a pirate's life in.
I would have tried to get more guests, I think.
Yeah. Definitely. I wish we had gotten more guests in these later times. It's just been busier, I think. How about you, Jason?
I wish I could draw better.
I love the art style of this comic. I like it's got an aesthetic to it.
I know it. I mean, you guys don't see the process, but it's a struggle to get their heads to be circles. Like
Mhm.
I have to erase their heads so often. It's so annoying to have to do that. And I know some people can just draw a circle. It's like bam, there is a circle, and I have to really work at it. So I do wish I could maybe, if not draw better, draw it faster so that
They make circle
I don't have to
temples.
struggle. Yeah, I want them to be perfect circles, because then it would look like
Yeah, then they lose all their character.
Just a head because it's too perfect. Yeah.
yeah. I've never erased a head because it was too perfect. One time I did trace a quarter. That was in the
Yes,
comic
I was
about-
gonna mention that one when I was talking about circle templates because there was that one where you talked about quarters.
Yeah,
right?
and then
Talked about-
I did actually trace the quarter for that one.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty recent, right? That was in the last like month or so.
Yeah, that was December 7th. I just have the, I have the folder open with the 365 image files.
I was like, oh yeah, I know that's pretty recent. It's like, oh yeah, it was December 7th.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
I don't remember them all off the top of my
Encyclopedic
head.
memory of every comic ever released.
Yeah, I did just sign up so this coming semester at my local community college, I will be taking a beginning drawing class. So we'll
Yeah.
we will see if that makes
Nice.
its way into the art.
Are you thinking about are you thinking about potentially changing the art style?
Not I don't want to, someday to be like a real cartoonist, you kind of probably shouldn't have stick figures, I guess. So if I'm someday able to draw people consistently enough, or cartoon figures of people consistently enough, I think I might transition away to the career, potential career.
Yeah,
But I'm
wonder if there's a way to stylize them in such a way that they're like a real syndicated comic, because I really do like the stick. Like, I think that of any like this comic has has put a lot of character into 6 stick figures or however many 8, 10
Yeah,
stick figures or how many
definitely.
characters there are.
Yeah, I do like seeing what mileage I can get out of them, just contorting them in weird ways.
Yeah.
It would be cool
Well,
to.
I think that if
yeah.
nobody else has anything else,
I'm all
no,
done.
go ahead.
I'm
I'll
good.
just no. Say what you're gonna
I'm
say,
good.
Ben.
I'm
Speak
good.
now or forever hold your peace.
I'll save it for the next one.
There... All right. So sounds like to me it sounds like we're done with our last podcast of the year.
Of season 4.
This has been of season 4. This has been the Dr. Bones Locker podcast.
We got to
with,
give this comic
special
a
guest
rate.
Jason Ball 34. Oh, we do have to give this comic. I forgot that we were reviewing a comic.
We are.
I
I forgot
gonna
what this
give this
comic
one-
is. Hold on.
like this one. I think this one's like a. I think the creepy last panel bumps it up to like an 8.5. I like that panel a lot.
I'll give this comic a. I'll give it a 7 for continuity.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
That's your.
And with that, we finish up the final episode of the year 2021 of the Dr. Bones podcast and the final episode of season 4. It sounds like we'll likely be back with at least an announcement, if not and at least one more episode. Ben saving
2
what he has to
weeks.
say for then. In 2 weeks, in approximately 14 days, we'll let you know if we calculate anything so we can line up our deadlines like we did this time. I think we took a 15-day break for this last season. But it sounds like we will be seeing all of our 0 viewers in 2 weeks. Thank you very much for coming on again. Jason Ball 34, it's been a great year.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
And have a good, fantastic New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.